When someone pulls away from you, whether it's after a breakup, a situationship, fading out, or someone simply taking you for granted, the instinctual response is to chase, to reach out, to fix it, to remind them of what you had. But here's the brutal truth. Chasing only reinforces their decision to pull away. The moment you start grasping, you lose your leverage. This is where no contact becomes your greatest tool, because no contact isn't about punishing the other person. It's not about playing games. It's about flipping the power dynamic back in your favor. Think about it. Human nature is wired in a way that makes us crave what feels scarce. The more available something is, the less valuable it becomes in our minds. It's why luxury brands never go on sale. It's why people suddenly want what they can't have. And it's why someone who was once indifferent toward you suddenly starts thinking about you the moment you disappear. When you go no contact, what you're really doing is creating emotional scarcity. You're taking yourself, your energy, your attention, your presence away from someone who had the luxury of it before. And that absence forces them to reevaluate what you actually meant to them. At first, they might not notice. They might even feel a sense of relief thinking they've moved on. But then something shifts. Days go by, weeks go by, and suddenly they realize something feels off. The messages they once expected from you don't come. The comfort of knowing you're still there starts to fade. And that's when the mind does something interesting. It starts to fill in the blanks. They wonder if you've moved on. They question whether you were ever as attached as they assumed. They start to replay old memories in their head, romanticizing the best parts, conveniently forgetting why they pulled away in the first place. And here's the kicker. The less information they have, the more their mind runs wild. This is where mystery becomes your greatest asset. When you disappear completely, you create a vacuum that their mind rushes to fill. Are you with someone else? Are you living your best life? Have you completely forgotten about them? The more unanswered questions they have, the more they feel your absence. And the more they feel your absence, the more they start to crave your presence again. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think no contact is just about cutting communication. They think if they stop texting, stop calling, stop checking in, that's enough. It's not, because no contact is not just about silence, it's about transformation. If all you do is sit there waiting, obsessing, counting the days until they reach out, you've missed the entire point. You cannot just remove your presence from their life. You have to elevate yourself in the process. People are not drawn back to the version of you they left. They are drawn back to someone they feel is better than before. The person they start to regret losing. The person who now feels just slightly out of reach. So what does that look like? It looks like self-improvement. It looks like investing in yourself, your happiness, your personal growth. It looks like genuinely enjoying your life, not as a performance to make them jealous, but because you've genuinely found fulfillment outside of them. Because here's the paradox. The moment you truly stop needing them is the moment they start needing you. When they sense you are no longer waiting, no longer emotionally attached, no longer hanging on to the hope that they'll return, that's when the power shifts. That's when they start questioning their decision. That's when they start feeling that pull toward you again, not because you convinced them to, but because their own psychology is working against them. And this is why breaking no contact too soon is a mistake. Because if they haven't felt the consequences of losing you, they have no reason to come back. If you reach out before they've gone through the internal process of missing you, all you're doing is reassuring them that they can still have you whenever they want. But when you hold your ground, when you stay silent, when you keep moving forward instead of looking back, that's when they start to chase. And here's the beautiful part. By the time they do, you might not even want them anymore. Because real power is not in making someone beg for you. Real power is in knowing that you don't need them to. So if you're in a place where you're questioning whether to break no contact, stop and ask yourself, have they earned my presence back? Because you are not someone to be chased only after you're gone. You are someone to be valued while you're still there. And if someone couldn't see that the first time, then maybe, just maybe, they weren't meant to have another chance. One of the biggest mistakes people make when implementing no contact is breaking it too soon. The moment that little voice in their head whispers, what if they forget about me? Or maybe I should remind them I still care, they reach for their phone. A simple message, a small check-in, a reminder of what once was. And just like that, the entire power of no contact is shattered. Because the truth is, if they haven't felt the weight of your absence yet, your return holds no value. When you break no contact before they've had the chance to miss you, you're giving them a shortcut, an easy way out of their discomfort. Instead of sitting with their emotions and realizing what life is like without you, they get immediate reassurance. They get to see that you're still there, still thinking about them, still emotionally invested. And in that moment, all the progress you made by stepping back disappears. Why? Because in their mind, nothing has really changed. You haven't truly left. They don't have to chase you because deep down they know you're still available. And people do not crave what is readily available. They crave what they fear they might lose forever. This is why breaking no contact too soon kills attraction. Think about it. The moments that create the deepest longing in human relationships aren't the ones where everything is predictable. They're the moments of uncertainty. The what if, the do they still think about me, the was I wrong to let them go? Uncertainty is what keeps people up at night. It's what makes them replay old conversations, check their phone hoping to see your name, wonder if you've moved on. When you rush back too soon, you rob them of that experience. You deny them the opportunity to feel the void that your absence has created. And without that void, there's no reason for them to chase you. Now, let's be honest. Sitting in silence is hard. The urge to reach out, to reconnect, to seek closure, it's overwhelming. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you reaching out because you truly believe it will change things for the better, or are you reaching out because you're uncomfortable with the space in between? Most of the time, it's the latter. People don't break no contact because they're making a strategic decision. They break it because they're emotionally restless, because waiting is painful, because not knowing what the other person is thinking feels unbearable. But let me tell you something, the most powerful moments in relationships happen in the space in between. The moments where nothing is being said, but everything is being felt. The moment where someone realizes that the person they once took for granted is no longer there. That's when the shift happens. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when desire starts to rebuild itself. And the more time that passes, the stronger that effect becomes. Now, some people will argue, but what if they never reach out? What if they never realize what they lost? If that happens, then you have your answer. Because someone who can walk away from you and feel nothing, someone who can let you go without even a second thought, was never really yours to begin with. But if you reach out before they've had a chance to miss you, you'll never actually know whether they would have come back on their own. You'll never get to see what happens when they are left with nothing but their thoughts and the slow, creeping realization that life was better with you in it. So if you're sitting there, staring at your phone, wondering if you should reach out, I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and remind yourself of this. You are not chasing, you are not convincing, you are not proving your worth to someone who couldn't see it the first time. You are letting them come to you. Because the moment they start to wonder where you went, the moment they begin to question whether they made a mistake, that's when the power shifts. That's when they begin to feel what they were never able to see when you were right in front of them. And when that moment comes, it won't be you reaching out. It won't be you trying to reignite the connection, it will be them. And this time they will know that if they want you back, they'll have to earn it. One of the biggest misconceptions about no contact is that it's just a waiting game, that if you stay silent long enough, the other person will eventually come running back. But here's the reality. No contact is not about time passing. It's about transformation. It's about who you become during the silence. Because if you're sitting around counting the days, obsessively checking their social media, living in a state of anticipation, then nothing is actually changing. You may be physically distant, but energetically you're still chasing. And they can feel that. People are incredibly intuitive. Even if you're not speaking, even if you're not reaching out, they can sense when they still have a hold over you. And that knowledge gives them no urgency to return. But when you truly shift, when you take no contact as an opportunity to evolve into someone they no longer recognize, that is when the dynamic changes. Because now there is uncertainty. They start to wonder, why aren't they affected? How are they moving on so easily? Did I matter as much as I thought I did? And that is the moment when no contact stops being about silence and starts being about power. Because here's what most people don't realize. Attraction doesn't come from absence alone. It comes from the contrast between who you were and who you are now. It's the gap between the version of you they left and the version of you they might never have access to again. Think about it. Have you ever run into an ex after months apart, only to find that they seem completely different? Maybe they're more confident, more self-assured. Maybe they've started something new, built a life that no longer revolves around you. And in that moment, you feel a pang of something unexpected. Not necessarily regret, but curiosity. Because the person you once knew has changed. This is what no contact is really about. Not just waiting, not just hoping, but creating a version of yourself that demands a second look. A version of yourself that forces them to rethink everything they thought they knew about you. And the most powerful part? When you reach this stage, you no longer need them to come back. This is where people get it wrong. They think the goal is to make their ex miss them, to make them chase. But the real goal is to get to a place where it doesn't matter whether they come back or not. Because by the time they realize what they lost, you will have already outgrown the need for their validation. And that's when they feel it the most, because people don't truly value what they believe will always be there. But when they sense a genuine shift, when they see that you are no longer emotionally tied to their presence, that is when their ego takes a hit. That is when the regret sets in. And this is why breaking no contact too soon is such a costly mistake. If you reach out before this transformation has taken place, before they've had a chance to feel your absence, then nothing has changed. The power dynamic remains the same. But when you take that time to evolve, when you step into a new level of confidence, of self-worth, of emotional independence, you're no longer just the person they left. You're the person they never expected you to become. And the irony? By the time they come back, you might not even want them anymore. Because what often happens is this: as you grow, as you elevate, you start to see things differently. You start to realize that the person you were waiting for is not actually the person you want anymore. That you were holding on to a version of them that existed only in your mind. And the most satisfying outcome of no contact is not making them beg. It's realizing that you are the prize, and that whether they return or not is completely irrelevant to your happiness. So if you're in the middle of no contact right now, don't waste this time. Don't sit in waiting. Use it. Use it to build yourself into the kind of person who doesn't just get chased, but the kind of person who no longer needs to be. The biggest mistake people make when breaking no contact is doing it from a place of desperation. They reach out because they feel lonely, because they miss the person, because they're afraid they're being forgotten. But here's what you need to understand. Neediness repels, certainty attracts. If you break no contact when you're still emotionally unstable, when you're still hoping for reassurance, you're giving all your power away. Because in that moment, you're not presenting yourself as someone of value. You're presenting yourself as someone who's waiting to be chosen. And nothing kills attraction faster than the sense that someone needs you more than you need them. Think about it. Have you ever received a message from someone who was clearly fishing for a response? Maybe they sent a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" But you could feel that it wasn't casual at all. You could sense that they were hoping for something, that their emotional state depended on whether or not you replied. And how did it make you feel? Most likely, it didn't pull you in. It probably made you feel pressure. It may have even pushed you away. This is what happens when you reach out before you're truly ready. It doesn't reignite attraction. It confirms to the other person that they still have control. And once they know they have control, there's no urgency for them to act. This is why breaking no contact needs to be done from a position of strength, not weakness. It's not about looking for reassurance. It's not about testing the waters. It's about showing up as someone who is already whole, already fulfilled, already at peace with themselves. And that means one thing: you have to be willing to walk away. See, people can sense when they still have a hold on you. Even if you try to play it cool, even if you pretend you're just checking in, if deep down you're still seeking validation, they will feel it. But when you reach a place where you genuinely don't need anything from them, when you could take them or leave them, that's when everything shifts. Because suddenly, you are the one who is unpredictable. You are no longer the person they thought you were. You are no longer the person who will always be there, waiting, hoping, ready to accept breadcrumbs. Now, They don't know where they stand with you. And that uncertainty is what creates intrigue. See, attraction is not built on comfort. It's built on tension. It's built on the unknown. It's built on the contrast between what someone thought was true and what they are now forced to question. So when you break no contact, it should never feel like an attempt to win them back. It should feel like you are evaluating whether they are still worthy of your time. Because when you show up with that energy, suddenly they are the ones who feel pressure. They are the ones wondering if they still have a chance with you. And here's where the real power comes in. If they sense that you are no longer waiting, no longer attached, no longer the same person they walked away from, they will be far more motivated to pursue you than if they believe you're still an option they can return to whenever they feel like it. This is why patience is so important. Most people break no contact far too early because they're afraid of losing their chance. They tell themselves, what if they move on? What if they forget about me? But here's the truth. If someone can truly forget about you, then they were never yours to begin with. And if they move on that easily, then you never had as much value in their eyes as you thought. Your job is not to remind them that you exist. Your job is to make yourself impossible to forget. And you don't do that by reaching out prematurely. You don't do that by chasing. You don't do that by proving yourself. You do it by becoming someone so magnetic, so self-assured, so undeniably valuable that the thought of losing you creates its own urgency. Because people don't chase what they already feel secure in having, they chase what they feel they might lose. So before you break no contact, ask yourself, am I truly in a place where I can take it or leave it? Am I reaching out because I want to or because I need to? Because the answer to that question will determine everything that happens next. When you no longer need their response, when you no longer fear their rejection, that's when you're ready. Because at that point, no matter what happens, you've already won. When people think about breaking no contact, they usually focus on what they should say. They obsess over the perfect text, the right words, the exact phrasing that will make the other person suddenly miss them, suddenly realize what they lost, suddenly want to come running back. But here's what most people get wrong. It's not about what you say, it's about who you are when you say it. Because words are just noise if they're not backed by the right energy. If you reach out with the energy of insecurity, of longing, of hoping, they'll give you a response that makes you feel validated. They will feel it. Even if your message is perfectly worded, they will sense the underlying neediness. And neediness doesn't create attraction, it diminishes it. On the other hand, if you reach out from a place of true confidence, if your energy communicates, I am not here to convince you of anything, I am simply here because I choose to be, then everything changes. Because now, you are not the person trying to win them back. You are the person evaluating whether they still deserve a place in your life. And that shift in dynamic is everything. See, when someone pulls away from you, when they stop reaching out, when they act distant, it's easy to assume they hold all the power. It's easy to believe that they are the ones making the decisions, that you are the one waiting to be chosen. But that's an illusion, because the truth is you are always the one choosing. You are choosing whether or not to engage. You are choosing whether or not to give them your energy. You are choosing whether or not to let them back in. And when you internalize that, when you truly believe that you are the one in control of what happens next, it changes the way you carry yourself. It changes the way you communicate. It changes the entire interaction. Because now, instead of trying to get a reaction from them, you are focused on one thing: how do I feel about them? And that is a question most people never ask themselves. Most people are so fixated on whether or not their ex still cares, whether or not they miss them, whether or not they will come back, that they never stop to consider, do I even want this person anymore? Do they still add value to my life? Because here's the truth, missing someone is not a reason to go back. Emotions are not proof of compatibility. Just because you still have feelings for someone does not mean they are the right person for you. So before you even think about breaking no contact, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, am I reaching out because I truly believe this person aligns with my values, my standards, my future? Or am I reaching out because I'm afraid of letting go? Because if it's the second one, you're not reaching out from a place of strength, you're reaching out from a place of fear. And when fear drives your decisions, you will always end up settling for less than you deserve. This is why the time you spend in no contact is so crucial. It's not just about creating space for them to miss you, it's about creating space for you to reassess whether you even want them back. And this is the paradox. The moment you reach a place where you no longer need them, where you no longer crave their validation, where you genuinely know your life will be just as good, if not better, without them, that is the moment when you hold all the power. Because now you are no longer the one chasing, you are the one being chased, and the person who is being chased is always the one in control. So when you break no contact, do it from a place of certainty. Not certainty that they will respond, not certainty that they will come back, but certainty in yourself. Certainty in the fact that you are not reaching out because you need anything from them, but because you have made the decision that it is the right moment. Because when you show up with that energy, they will feel it. They will sense that you are different, that you are no longer the same person they walked away from, that you are no longer waiting for them to give you permission to move forward. And suddenly the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they are the ones wondering where they stand with you. Suddenly, they are the ones feeling the uncertainty. This is what makes people chase, not words, not carefully crafted messages, not trying to trigger nostalgia or jealousy. It's the energy of someone who is so deeply rooted in their own value, in their own worth, that they are no longer seeking approval from anyone else. And that energy, it's irresistible. So if you're going to break no contact, do it when you no longer feel the need to. Do it when you are already fulfilled, when you are already thriving, when your happiness is no longer dependent on their response. Because when you reach that point, you don't have to make them beg. They will do it on their own. The final and perhaps most important part of breaking no contact is understanding that the true power isn't in the moment you reach out. It's in the mindset you carry forward after you do. Because here's what most people don't realize. Breaking no contact isn't about sending a message. It's not about reconnecting. It's not about trying to engineer the perfect scenario where they come running back confessing how much they miss you. It's about closure on your terms. See, most people think of closure as something they need from someone else. They think they need a final conversation, an explanation, some kind of emotional resolution to help them move on. But real closure never comes from another person. It comes from you. It comes from deciding that you are enough, regardless of whether they ever give you the answers you want. It comes from realizing that your happiness was never supposed to be dependent on their validation in the first place. And this is where most people get stuck. They go into breaking no contact, still holding on to this subconscious hope that the other person will finally see their worth. That somehow, if they say the right thing or show up in the right way, they will get the reaction they've been craving. But the irony is, the moment you still need that reaction is the moment you lose. Because when your emotional state is still dictated by whether or not they respond or how